This terra nullius proclamation, made by the British so long ago, not only stole the land from the traditional owners, but it stole their identity as well. The tribal identity was systematically dismantled by the white community. They weren't allowed to speak language, they weren't allowed their own oral history. Essentially, they weren't allowed to live as they'd been doing for, what, the last 60,000 years. Imagine what that must feel like. It'd be like experiencing culture shock without leaving your own kitchen, let alone your own country. Picture this. Aliens walk into your house and tell you that the way you live is no longer valid, and from now on you have to follow their rules. Of course, they back this up with superior weapons. Not only that, you don't know what the new rules are, and they're kept a secret from you. But it goes deeper than that. All the knowledge that you've collected through generations, been handed down for thousands of years, all that knowledge, no longer valid. How isolated and dispossessed would we feel? Do you know when the Aboriginal people were first allowed to vote?
No.
Wouldn't have a clue.
Do I know when that was?
Yeah.
Not particularly, no.
In 1960 something.
Do I know when? I thought everybody had the same rights as everybody else. I'm not sure, Duff, sorry.
Not until about the 60s or something like that?
Yep.
Yes, as late as, would you believe, 1967, which I find quite stunningly dreadful.
It was at about this time that Australia started to question the immigration policy, sometimes violently. The White Australia policy, as it was called, was brought about to basically limit immigration to white Anglo-Saxon Europeans, and they had all sorts of really tricky ways to keep you out if they didn't want to let you in, like the dictation test. Now, if you were someone they liked, then you got the dictation test in your own language and you were fine. But if you were somebody that they didn't want to let in, then you got the dictation test in a foreign language. My favourite story from about this time was of the guy who they didn't want to let in, and so they gave him the dictation test in a different language to his own, and he passed it. So they gave him a different test in a different language, and he passed it again. They had to give him the test 12 times before they found a language that he didn't speak. But the dictation test and the White Australia policy were all too late. Australia was already becoming a multicultural country, with people from all corners of the globe flocking in to fulfil their hopes and dreams. But why did they choose Australia?
Why do you think people immigrate to Australia?
It's a better lifestyle than Japan, better lifestyle than Asia, better lifestyle than China, everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And what would you look for in a country if you wish to immigrate?
Well, probably anywhere that's like here. I wouldn't go anywhere unless it was as laid back as what here is and as easy to do what you have to do.
Did you or your ancestors immigrate to Australia?
Oh, probably ages and ages ago. Germany, yeah.
Why do you think people want to immigrate to Australia?
Because it's the best country in the world.
What makes it that? What do you think it attracts them?
Easier living.
Australia definitely has a much kinder lifestyle. I think it's, it's not so competitive and everybody's a bit more easygoing, and so I think it's just a good place.
Why do you think people want to immigrate to Australia?
Because it's a beautiful country.
But Australia is such a good country. Good country for a number of reasons. I mean, the people are so open-minded and generally more acceptable. You go to other countries and they're very narrow thinking. I mean, you go to America and Americans just think America.
It's the open space, that's the main thing.
It's true.
And it's the opportunity that you're going to get.
On my mother's side, they came from Ireland, and on my father's side, they came from England. In fact, my father had a sister that was married to a lord in the British Admiralty. I am named after Leslie Francis Brown, his brother, who was the the world manager of Park Davis, the biggest chemical company in the world, and all of their people came from England, and my mother's people came from Ireland. So, yes, we're newies in a sense by world standards.